Hello, you wonderful people, and welcome to another episode of Not to Comic Book. This being a show where I talk about TV shows that are adaptations of comic books. For today's episode, I'm going to talk about My Awkward Senpai Season 1, Episode 4. A lot of really interesting things went down in this episode, so let's break it down. So, I brought it up last episode. I was curious whether there'll be lead up to the Okinawa trip or we just straight up there. Nope, we're just straight up there. And it seems that because we never got a description of what the job actually was that they were going to do. But basically, they're doing a photo shoot. Specifically, it's about a sunscreen, which I'm assuming because they're there as PR representatives for the photo shoot. And they're recording, making sure everything goes fine and checking out locations and also, getting some behind the scenes shots and stuff. That I assume it is their sunscreen too, because I believe kind of what said in episode 1 that their company was initially just a video game company, but then they've diversified and now they've got their hands in so many other different products and ventures. So, but either way, that's what the main thing is. And I love when they show up there, Kanawa is in a bikini, and even Kamigawa's like, do you need to be in that? And she's like, why? It's because she's like, well, because the person is, the model for this is in a bikini. She's like, almost feels like it'd be wrong not to be in one as well. Which I love. Kamigawa's like, does it? I don't think it works that way. And she's like, wait, it doesn't. And I guess it comes from a space of I get where she's coming from, where it's I think to try and make the model feel better. It's right, we all need to kind of match too, just because. Or maybe that's just some awkward misunderstanding on her part that she felt the need to do that because she thought that was probably the proper protocol in this situation. So I don't know if it's to make the model feel better so everyone's kind of in the same position or whatever. It's just to kind of fit the mood better. But she's like, really? And Kamigawa was like, no, it's okay. In fact, he was like, because later it works out perfectly because the model's hat flows out to the water. Kamigawa swims out there. For a second, I was almost thinking not Kamigawa, sorry, Kanoa. And when she swims out there for a split second, I was like, ooh, are they going to be fascinated by Kanoa in the bikini? And they're like, oh, you should be the model. I thought for a split second that's where the story was going to go. But she's like, see, Kamigawa, look, I mean, me being in my swimsuit, my bikini or whatever worked out. He's like, yeah. So going forward, I'll be in mine too. And she's like, yeah. And then she's like, wait, why am I getting so excited about that? Because I think for her, it's just kind of nice knowing that he'd be in it too. And it's become a little less embarrassing that it's just her now. But it's also I think for her, just knowing we're in this together, we're both in our swimsuits and stuff like that, she kind of feels better about it. But one of the people that's a part of the shoot comes over and talks to Kanagawa about oh my God, you're in such great shape. What's your routine? And she kind of seems to not really have one. Maybe it's just really good generics. Maybe she does a little working out, but the way she made it sound it doesn't seem like she does much. So it might just come down to genetics. And he's like, oh yeah, but you have a great physique. Your arms are very thin. And he's about to touch her. And Kamigawa starts kind of panicking a little bit. He's like, he's like, I forgot what excuse he made. Oh, he's like, oh yeah, the model, her break is almost over. She probably it's her break is over. Her break is now. You should go check on her. He's like, all right, you're right. Okay, you two just kind of chill and relax while we're kind of in our break. And Kamigawa's thinking to himself why did I react like that? But even Kana was like, oh, thanks, because she probably didn't know how to react in that situation, so she appreciated Kamigawa getting out of that awkward thing, because it's oh, the guy wants to touch me, I don't know what to do, I don't want to come off with my naturally strong personality, how I am sometimes, but also I'm just an awkward human being, so I'm I don't know how to respond in this situation. But even Kamigawa was doing that out of jealousy. And even he's trying to figure out, why am I feeling that way? He's like, why did that make me so uneasy? So we've already seen things kind of on Kanoa's side of things. But even then, she's still trying to be the professional. So I'm wondering, is it going to be Kamigawa that catches feelings first? Because, yes, Kanoa's been embarrassed around him, but she's still viewing things from a senior and junior perspective of right, as a senior and she gets embarrassed about being awkward and stuff, but I don't know if the romance has necessarily hit her being bashful around her is just her natural state and wanting to put her best foot forward in front of him. But I don't think it's I don't think the romance has necessarily quite hit her yet, but I think so. I guess it's going to be Kamigawa that kind of falls first, and these are kind of tiptoeing in that direction. So then after the photo shoots were completely done, they went to kind of celebrate. There's some music playing and they have to dance. And Kanoa is too embarrassed to dance. But then Kamigawa's like, no, let's do it. And she's like, wow, you're kind of not doing the dance appropriate to this. But he's like, yeah, but maybe, but as long as I'm having fun. And she's like, oh, the fact of the matter is, like, he's kind of doing his thing as his senior. How could I let my junior show me? So I was like, no, I have to be the senior and she does it too and starts dancing. And Kamigawa gets caught off guard by how cute she is, especially with her smile and everything. Because it's her relaxing a little bit. Because obviously she's been very professional so far, but just seeing her he doesn't get to see too many opportunities. Her cutting loose and just straight up having fun. It's just little moments here and there, and that, especially now where he's like, oh, I'm feeling certain things towards her. It caught him off guard completely, and he's trying to when he gets back to his room, he's just trying to relax and figure out man, what is that all about? And she stops by his room to hand him some sunscreen because she's like, yo, cause she noticed something while they were out dancing, and maybe maybe the thing she noticed was she saw that no one else had their skin burned like hers, so so it's like, oh, he's not putting on the sunscreen. She probably hadn't really noticed it until then, and she shows up to give him the sunscreen. Obviously, she's coming from a perspective, or at least trying to be professional, be like, yo, we're promoting a sunscreen, and if you were getting sunburned, that kind of defeats the whole purpose. Even though he's not the one being photographed, it still kind of kills some of the what the product. It's almost like, oh, you don't believe in the product enough to use it. So it's kind of like we need everyone, even those behind the scenes, to kind of utilize it. But it's also just coming from the perspective of, oh yeah, I'm worried about you and I want to make sure you're okay. So then the next day, they go on to continue their photo shoot. They're at different locations. And, they end up being able to wrap early. Now they have a whole bunch of free time. But the problem is, Kanawa's like, wait, actually, what is Kamigawa going to do? And now she's actually kind of wondering, well, she thinks this later, but because they've been working and he's so serious and dedicated to work, which is great. But now she's like, has he actually taken time to actually have fun on this trip too? And now she's worried on that front. But especially when the guy was like, hey, we should all hang out together too. And Kanawa's like, oh crap. The fact of the matter is, I've burned through all my non-existent social communication skills yesterday and today. I've got nothing left. And she's panicking, and Kamigawa kind of bells her out, be like, oh yeah, we have that collab cafe thing to look into. And I was like, what? I was like, oh, right, from episode 2. I guess we never fully, I guess they're still in the checking out cafe process. I mean, he was doing that to bail her out, because she actually wanted to kind of spend time with Kamigawa, but she was like, how do I suggest us going off on our own? Would that be weird? Would he want to just... Right. I don't want to be a situation where it feels like I'm forcing my junior to come with me, because he wouldn't want to hang out with me. But he's gotten really good at... I don't know whether he properly knows that Kanoa is not good with being around people for long periods of time. I don't know if he properly registered that she's kind of reached her communication limits so far as an awkward introvert that she is, or whether it's just he is kind of a little awkward because he's like, oh, I kind of don't want you around. I'm kind of feeling that jealousy a little bit. I think he could tell she was off, but I don't know if he fully understands whether he's kind of gotten to the root of, oh, she's an awkward person and she has a limit to her, the amount of energy she can suspend towards being around a group of people. There's, especially because this would be on their off time, because she can put up with it specifically when it's professional time, but in non-professional off the clock time, it's, that's a whole other wheelhouse for her. But Kamigawa helped her out, and it's cool. And they checked out different cafes, and yeah, they got some really good ideas about the collab going forward, so it all worked out. But once again, the conversation of, has Kamigawa really been enjoying himself? And obviously, Kanoa kind of noticing oh, she seems a little down, but it's because she's busy stressing about that. And then they find out that they have a whole other issue to worry about, because when the rooms were booked for them, it was actually a single twin bed room instead of 2 separate rooms. And it's because their coworker, she was she even says when she's leaving, she's like, oh yeah, setting up a hotel thing is so hard. She was chowing down and drinking and went off to lunch and never bothered double checking it, which, hey, accidents happen and stuff like that. That's the same one that is getting married too, right? Because she's the one they were celebrating last episode along with Kamigawa's employment. And now they're stressing about what to do about that. But it's like, right, let's go. I'll hit the indoor baths and stuff like that to kind of relax. And now she's actually beating herself up because she's like, am I the one that brings all the bad luck? Because she remembers she was literally in the same situation with Kanzaki previously, which is like, she's perfectly fine with that. It was enjoyable, but now she's thinking like, oh, Kamigawa must going to feel awkward being in the same room with me. So she's suggesting like, maybe I get a different room in a different hotel, but she's like, I can't do that. It's Golden Week. All the places are booked. I can't get in a room this late last minute. That's why this is the only room available to them. They can't switch to a 2-room because all of them have been booked for because of Golden Week. So when she gets back to the room, Kamigawa's packing his stuff and he's like, I'll leave because you can obviously relax with me in here. And she's like, well, what are you doing? Because I think for her, it's like, I'm the senior in this situation. I should be the one leaving, not you. And he's like, no, it's perfectly fine. I could go to like a cafe, a manga cafe or something, chill there or whatever. But she's like, no, stay. Like the fact is, and tries to justify, but like, yeah, I was here with my senior and everything was perfectly fine. And she tried to make it seem like this happens all the time, which I wonder, did it happen all the time with Kanzaki? Or was she just trying to make him feel better by being like, yeah, it's not like, this isn't my first rodeo. I've been through it multiple times, even though it seems like the one time with Kanzaki might be the only time it happened. But she could have been telling the truth and it happened all the time. But there is a little bit of a difference, though, because Kanzaki is 2 women having to share the same room versus two people of the same sex, sharing versus 2 people of the same, opposites, so. Because also, Kamigawa doesn't know that her senpai was a woman. I don't think he knows that. Because he doesn't really, he just keeps it very gender neutral when he's talking about her senpai, later on in the episode. And initially he's kind of like, no, because he's doing it, I think, for twofold. He's still being like adamant about, no, I don't want to do it. Because one, he doesn't want to bother Kanawa, but also 2, with everything he's been feeling lately, it's kind of like being in the same room with her, like for a prolonged period of time. It's like, and this is the place we're going to relax and sleep. It's kind of awkward. So he wants to leave, but she stops him and she's like, she's like, fine, we'll play a game. It's like, right, I've gotten better. Well, I don't think she expressly says this because we know, was that last episode or episode 2? I think it was episode 2. She was practicing at home, so she's gotten better at the mobile version. So she's kind of like, right, I'll challenge you to this. And she's like, what are you like? Are you scared you're going to lose? Which is kind of, I think she probably does have a very naturally competitive angle to this, but he could also tell like she's being very bashful and she's just making any excuse to kind of make him feel comfortable in staying. So they play and she loses, even though she was probably playing against the computer, like, NPCs when she was playing at her home back in episode 2. So probably a little easier because he ends up pointing out like, oh, like when you drift, you can hit the boost here, and she's completely unaware of it. So I guess even when because we never found out like whether or not we know she plays games, but we don't know how good she actually is at games. It might fit with her personality. She's not naturally good at games. She's a gamer, but she's not good at them. But she just always puts forth the time and effort to really understand things. So even though she's better with control, that doesn't mean she's necessarily good at the game. She just might be better at the game than just, playing it mobily. So, because for her to not even know about the boost, and sometimes that happens where stuff like, oh, I completely was unaware of that tactic. Because she's like, yo, you boosted at the end there? Like, did you cheat? It's like, no, it's an element to the gameplay. So she's like, fine, I'm going to win this time. And he decides to kind of go get some snacks or whatever. And I think, no, it was specifically drinks. And he's thinking to himself, like, right, like, her senpai must have been someone great. Now he's like, yeah, Kanawa has to always worry about me. So whoever her senpai was obviously was someone that was a lot more reliable to me. And he wants to be someone that she can rely on. He doesn't want to hold her back because he admires her and realizes how great and awesome she is at her job. And it's like, I don't want to be the one that holds her back. But when he comes back, she's asleep in the bed. And I was curious to see what he was going to do. I was like, oh, I thought that'd just be the end of it all. Maybe he'd stay awake and or go to the lobby or whatever. But it's all a moot point because she immediately wakes up and is like, yo, what took you so long? He's like, yo, you were dead sleeping. She's like, nope, I'm not going to bed until I beat you. Which I love that so much because I wasn't expecting that development. I thought it was going to be a thing of like, oh, because it subverted my expectations. I thought the thing was, oh, she's going to sleep, and then when she wakes up, she'll find him sleeping in the next bed and kind of freak out. And it's like, oh, well, it was all kind of a moot point. So I'm up now being embarrassed that, but we slept through it all, so it's fine. But no, for her to wake up and be like, no, we're going to keep going. And then they almost missed their flight, I think. Yeah, because they took a flight here because they were admiring like the sea on their way to Okinawa, which makes me wonder, does she not travel for work a lot? Like, is this kind of a rare occurrence for her? Maybe, maybe not. I don't know. I mean, probably like, obviously it's her first time traveling with Kamigawa, so obviously, but either way, they stayed up pretty late with their competition, which once again feeds into like how competitive she can be. That wasn't just for his sake, that's also just because that's just a natural state of her to be like very that competitive. But they end up running, and it's kind of like, right, it was a lot of fun for both of them. The entire experience at Okinawa was great. She's like, cool, but moment we get back to work, you can expect a schedule from hell. And it's like, oh, yes, yes, ma'am, I'll try my best. So yeah, just kind of a nice getaway. That yes, you still had work, but there was a lot of fun. It even inspired Kamigawa for some ideas for the collab, the cafe collab thing. So it's going to be interesting to see where the next episode ultimately ends up taking us going forward with all of this. But really, that's all I want to talk about. So the next time we meet, be happy, be safe, live life to the fullest, and enjoy it. Good day and goodbye.